basic premise of this comedy is there's been a murder in the small town of East Peck, South Carolina. And this lawyer from New York is assigned to the case. He comes down, meets the suspect, played by John Lithgow. He meets his team assigned to the case, who are, not as professional as what he's accustomed to. And it's just him, figuring out, it's a fish out of water story, but it's also, it's like a true crime documentary, but it's hilarious. Margaret Henderson, the wife of Larry Henderson, is found in a pool of blood with a broken plate glass window. And Larry, played by John Lithgow, calls the cops and reports the death of his wife. No one knows what really happened, and that's what we're finding out over the course of the season. But, I mean, from the very first scene, it appears that Larry Henderson had to have murdered his wife. So it's up to Josh and the rest of the team to defend him. It keeps the audience guessing throughout the season. It's not cut and dry. The entire season follows one case, and there's constant twists and turns, and you don't know if Larry Henderson is the murderer or if he's not, or if other suspects come up over the course of the investigation. And so, in that sense, it's a lot like a true crime documentary, but in another sense, it's nothing like it, because this is hilarious. John Lithgow is the only one who knows who the actual murderer is, and I'm glad that that's the case, because I can't know who the real murderer is, because Dwayne doesn't know. I don't want it to affect my performance at all. I can only approach the part from the vantage point of whatever Dwayne knows. So if I knew who the murderer was, it would just throw me completely off. I play Dwayne Reed. He's the lead investigator for the defense lawyer. And Dwayne he's sort of, he came to be an investigator sort of in a roundabout way. He used to be a cop for about 4 days. Then he retired. It was a mutual decision between him and the East Peck PD. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he gets the job done in his own special way. I think Dwayne only spent 4 days on the police force because he was just a little too enthusiastic. You see a flashback from the point of view of a dash cam, cop dash cam, and you see why Dwayne was let go from the police department, and it's not pretty. So far, working with the rest of this cast has been amazing. Everybody has just like great comic chops, and John Lithgow, I worked with him before. We worked on King Lear in Central Park together. So this is very different. It's nice to be working on something comedic with John, but it's been going great. It's been going great so far. I think people are going to love this show because it has all the twists that a procedural has throughout the entire season, but it also just has, like, the writing has the best jokes. It's laugh after laugh after laugh. So you're still drawn along from episode to episode because you never know what's going to happen, and it keeps you guessing. But along the way, it's just a delight because it's just hilarious. There's always more to be found, and it's like you can keep digging, literally and figuratively, throughout every episode, and it just keeps developing. It keeps the audience guessing, and it does it in just a really funny way. This comedy, it's unlike any other comedy because it marries the true crime doc with the sitcom, and I don't know of any other show that does that. I was drawn to this project because I used to be a stand-up comedian, and I've read a lot of sitcom pilots, and they're either not interesting or just not very funny. And this, the first thing that grabbed me was just every joke just lands. It's like each one I'm like laughing out loud as I'm reading it on the page. And then it also sucks you in because you're actually invested in the murder case. So it was just unlike anything else.